Salutations, everyone. Welcome back to my platform. I really appreciate you guys coming in, whether you're coming in live or doing the replay. I am so looking forward to having this conversation because I just became aware that it's Transgender Awareness Week from the 13th until the 19th. So I'm glad to have my special guest on. So I had to make sure that I keep my bra on after I came from church, to make sure that I come before you to have such an in-depth discussion about just the climate when it comes to the transgender community because we've been hearing about it, it's been trending. So this is like kind of the best time to have this guest on. So I really appreciate her coming through. She's been a friend of mine for several years now, and I just like she's so adorable. I just and and truth be told, she put a lot of Bi a Woman to shame because she's transgender, but you can't tell. You can't tell at all because she's damn fine as hell. Okay, so but anyway, so without further ado, I going to after this intro, I'm going to present to you Jade Morgan Calais. Here we go. I'm coming up, I'm pressing on, I'm getting on. And Jade Morgan, here you go. How you doing, Jade? We got Jade in the building. I have, haven't seen you in a minute. Looking beautiful as usual. I know you always got to represent. So I appreciate you coming through again. I really want to, give it up to yourself. Exactly. So I just want to make sure that I give you my gratitude of you coming through for me on this, especially being, like I said, Transgender Awareness Week, and you come and represent on behalf of your community. So I thank you so much for that. But I just want to get to the beginning of things before we get into the meat and potatoes of that. I want to get more into Jade Morgan. Did I pronounce your name correct? Is it Calais?
Yeah, Calais. So
Calais.
I'm from Louisiana, so that S is silent, so it's Calais.
Oh,
but
Calais.
If you look at it, you'll probably say Calais.
Yeah. So you said from Louisiana. On what part?
I'm originally from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Oh, okay. So what was like growing up for you? So were you born and raised there?
I was born and raised in Louisiana. Yes.
Okay, so let me get to like I want to get to more into your upbringing from Louisiana. Was it a
Okay.
single parent household, two parent, cousins, siblings?
Yes.
How was that? How was that structure like for you?
So I have four brothers. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm the only girl. My mom and dad are still married. They've been married since
Oh,
before I was even born. Like my
nice.
older brother is 30, I think he's 36. So they've been married for like 37 or 38 years, or maybe 36 years. Don't quote me, but 30
Nice.
plus years for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's wonderful. And so, okay, so having that two-parent household, was there any okay, so you said four brothers, so it's five of you all together.
Yes.
And
Well,
okay,
I'm sorry, four of us all together, and
so
then
four
my
altogether.
cousin. Yeah, my cousin
Oh,
grew up
okay.
with us as well, and I call him my brother, but he's my cousin. But I
Right.
don't look at him no different than my brother.
Got you. No, understandable. And
Mhm.
so what was it like? And where do you fall? Are you like the youngest, oldest,
I'm the second to oldest.
the second to oldest? So,
Mhm.
what was it like? Because sometimes, like, okay, let me, before I get to the whole, dynamic with the sibling structure, I want to know
Mhm.
how many years apart are you guys?
So me and my oldest brother, we are. He's 36. I'll be 34 next month. So
Okay.
we're like 2 years apart, two and
Okay.
something years apart. And then my brother after me, I think he is 25 or 26. So
Mhm.
that's pretty much a good age gap. I
Yes.
think like six
Yes.
years, something like that. And my last
Okay.
little brother, he's 21. I think he's 21. He or 20. He just made 21 or 20. Don't quote me.
Yeah, that's why I
Sorry.
wanted to ask because when there's a gap between the older
Hmm.
children and the younger children, the um the parenting style is different. It
Hmm.
comes to the parents how they treat the older children versus the younger children. So did you see a difference between how the parents raised you and your brother and then the younger siblings?
I mean, my mom was a little more laid back when it came to my younger siblings because she probably was tired. She probably was tired after me, my
Yeah,
oldest
right.
brother. She probably was tired, but no, she pretty much kept the structure the same. She just was
Okay.
a little more. And that's probably getting feedback from, the older siblings, like, you don't got to be so harsh, you don't got to be so,
Got it.
but she pretty much the same. My mama don't change, my daddy don't change, they be the same.
So wait, how your father was more was he more strict, more disciplinarian?
No, to be honest, my dad's the more laid back one. My mom will be the one that's like structure,
Oh,
like
structure. Oh,
get
okay.
up and
One.
do what you need to do.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it wasn't much of a difference, between how all you were raised.
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, the baby, of course, he's
Right.
small, so he.
Right. I knew
But
one
I'm
had to be
small, so I
small.
can't even say nothing.
Are you small too?
Yes, I'm very small.
But I remember
Very
you
small.
telling me before, Jade. I remember you telling me before that you had like a farm or something. You had horses, animals.
Yeah, my dad and my mom does have a farm. Well, it's not a farm anymore. They pretty much sold all their
Oh,
animals and stuff, but they still have horses and chickens and dogs and cats and
uh,
all type of stuff in the field. So it's pretty much our it's my grandmother. So my grandmother and so I'm gonna start from my great grandparents. My great grandparents left my grandmother and her siblings land, and they built their houses on it. My mom built her house on it. So we pretty much had the whole street to ourselves. Well, I didn't have it when I was growing up because they were still building,
got
but
you.
I left home at a little earlier age than everybody else. So but it's still our home, I
Yes,
mean, they were living in there since I was like maybe 19, 20 years old. So I just was out the house, but that's
got
still
it.
my home.
I mean, we'll get more to that. We'll get more into you leaving the nest. I want to definitely get more into that. But I want to get into the horses because I love to like hear stories about animals
Yes,
raised in
sugar.
farms and stuff. So,
Yes.
but you raised
My
on
heart
was it
said,
farm? Was it a farm type of property or was it like did you
yeah.
have like
So it's a big it was a when I was younger, it was more of a bigger farm, and my parents and stuff and my great grandparents would go in there and stuff like that. But I wasn't one of them girls to be outside, honey.
oh you was
I wasn't one of I was in I let my daddy and my brothers do that. I was in the house cooking and cleaning.
oh you were oh okay, got you. But you wasn't outside tending to the you ain't ride the horses or anything. You ain't have
Mm-mm.
interactions with you ain't doing animal
I
interaction.
would pet her and stuff like that, but as of riding it, honey, I'm not the only horse I ride.
Well,
I'm trying to tell you that's the only horse I ride, honey. I don't play with them. I don't
see,
play with big animals
okay, I
like
see
that.
where
I'm
you're going with
scared.
this, Jade. I see you going. I see where you're going with it. I can't be mad at all. I'm sorry, I can't be mad. Yeah, but yeah, so you grew up, and so I always like to get into the scholastic side of things, and I like to get into the elementary, junior high school because it's not talked about enough. We talk about high school and college, but nobody talks
Mhm.
about elementary. Because a lot of people don't really remember, but there's some aspects that you should remember because those are some pivotal times. People don't. I don't think people are aware of how pivotal that is because you're talking about puberty. You talk about dry humping in the staircase. You're talking about sex ed. You're talking about you just try to figure it all out. That is a pivotal time. So I
Yes.
was wondering, how was it like for you? Do you remember how it was like for you in junior high and elementary school?
Yes, I do actually. My
Okay,
elementary
good.
school, um, a little bit of elementary. I think I still remember from like third or so like in between third, I think like between kindergarten and third grade or fourth grade. No, third grade. Between kindergarten and third grade,
Right.
we were moving a lot, like so not a lot, but we just was moving a little bit more than the norm. But that's because my mom was young, she was trying to get settled and stuff. So
So
I
where did
didn't
you move
really
to?
we
Where you moving
well,
to?
we still in Louisiana, just a
Okay, but just
different
different
like
areas.
cities. Yeah, different
Oh,
areas.
okay, okay.
Yeah, so we would I did that, but I think I can remember vividly fourth grade and up. I was, bullied, I think, from
Mm,
fourth grade, third pretty much my whole life until I got into high school for real. But
mm, mm,
really, even in high school, it was a little bit, but they kind of laid off me a little bit. But when I was in like elementary, middle school, I was kind of bullied a lot.
mm.
I mean, that didn't last too long though, because I started putting BTA. So once I started putting BTA, they left me
Right,
alone.
right. Yeah, but sometimes if you fight back, sometimes you do have to.
Yeah,
It's but so
yeah,
much that you're going to ignore. Like you can't just
right.
continue to. No, so I get it. But how was you? Like, did you get into any extracurricular activities? Did you join any club?
Yes. So I was always in theater. I always was
Oh,
in
really?
yeah, I was in theater. I was always in like drama club. In
Nice.
middle school, I was in 4-H and just little clubs and
4-H.
choir. I can't
Oh.
sing, but I was in choir, child. I was in choir
Yeah, but I'm
trying to sing
surprised you
with
was in
the
4-H because you don't like animals that much. You was in 4-H?
I was in 4-H. I was
Who
in
made
4-H.
you decide if you were
My
you
dad
were
my daddy said you got to do something besides sit in the house. So
okay, okay.
my
Got
mom
it.
and my daddy was well, my mama didn't really care, but my daddy was more so of you got to do something. Like you
Gotta
can't,
do right, you gotta be active. Yeah,
you
you
a
gotta
kid, do something.
but did you enjoy it though? I mean, did you enjoy it a little? I mean, did you enjoy that?
To be honest, I don't remember what we was even
Okay.
doing.
Okay, okay. That's
But
all right, I understand.
I was there. I was participating, but I don't remember anything. Oh, I was also in Cub Scouts and all that stuff
Oh, you
too.
Club Scout. Oh,
Yeah, I was in
cool.
that too. My mom kept us in that. Oh, I did play baseball too. I forgot I did that when I was younger. I did play baseball as
Oh, so you
well.
did. Oh, you did quite a few things.
My mama kept us active.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's a good thing. But so let me before we get more in Jade, I just want to establish something. When when did you have this feeling or when did you know within yourself that you were something that you of this outside of your former self?
For me, I can't speak for everyone, but for me, I always did feel this way. I always did feel like a girl. I always felt like a woman.
And
I
when,
would
I mean,
sit
you
there.
remember when?
I think vividly remember at like 5, 6. I didn't know the
Okay.
words for it. I
Okay.
just knew I wasn't like my brothers. I knew I didn't like to get
Okay.
dirty. I knew I didn't like to, you
Hmm.
know, do. I didn't like to do nothing that they do. So
Okay.
um, I knew that I was different. I just didn't know what was the
What was it?
terminology
What was it? What it
or
was?
is that
Okay.
or if that was even
A
okay to
thing.
say
Right.
or anything like that. So yeah,
Okay.
I
So I
knew
asked
from
that
a
for a
pretty
reason.
early age.
Yeah, because the reason why and I'm glad I asked you when I did because I wanted to kind of establish a timeline. That's why I was like,
Hmm.
because I mean, let me just like I said, I wanted to stop there. So I'm glad you said like around 5 years old. So that's what the time we talking about elementary,
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
but you knew because a lot of times, when you're that young, a lot of times, we all want to be like we want to be Superman, we want to be Wonder Woman, we want to be unicorns and dinosaurs. So
Yep.
that's the thing. So I mean, even though you said that you wasn't sure, you wasn't certain how did when did you make the distinction? Because a lot of times when you mentioned that growing up, you didn't want to do the things that your brothers used to do, like you
Mhm,
didn't want to participate in certain things. So
mhm.
when did you make the distinction between just not having desire to do certain things as a child growing up and you knowing that this is not where you are assigned to or you want to identify as?
Right. So, as I think probably when I was around 12, 13, I started
Okay.
kind of like
Okay, junior high. Okay.
dibbling. Yeah, I kind of started like kind of dibbling, dabbling. I was about to go into high school. I started dibbling, dabbling in like makeup and wear my hair curly and big and curly and just trying to tap in more into my femininity. But
Mm.
like I didn't really go full throttle till my like sophomore, junior year.
Oh, in high
And
school?
yeah, sophomore, junior
Okay.
year is
All
when I
right.
really kind of like was like, okay,
You want to
I
explore it.
I want to
Mhm.
explore what this is. I don't know how to put it into words. I didn't even know if it was a real thing for real. I didn't know it was like I mean, I heard of it, but I was always talked down upon where I'm from. So
Of course, of course.
it wasn't like oh my God, that you can do this. It was more so of there was talking about them in a negative light, not in a positive
Of
light.
course,
So
of
I
course.
kind of got scared, I kind of got, I would try to kind of hide it and kind of be scared because I didn't want them to talk about me like that. And I was just blessed to be in what's the word they call it, passable or something like that. I was blessed
Yes.
to be like that, but in my mind I was thinking I'm not passable, so I'm thinking I didn't want
Mm,
people to like bully me more or me fighting even more because of that. So
mm.
I waited till I was about 16 and a half or about 15, 16 and a half. That's when I was like, okay, I can't take it no
Then
more.
this is
This
why,
is
because this
this
is
is
like
who I
that's
am.
when you knew, like this, you knew, like, okay, this is not who I am. This is okay. I know this is something else. I know it's got to be something else there. But
Right.
thank you for bookmark that for me, Jade, because
Yeah,
I
and
want to. Yeah,
I did have help. I'm not gonna make it seem like I was just out there
right.
doing it by myself.
Of course.
My biological older brother, he is part of the community as well.
Okay.
So, he
Which
kind
part?
of
Which part?
he's gay.
Okay.
He's a homosexual male.
Hmm.
So he pretty much, you know, helped me, and I appreciate him so much. Him and my mom, they pretty much helped me do it the right way. They didn't,
Oh, so you got the support. See, I want to get more into that,
mhm.
Jay. Hold on, bookmark that
Okay,
for me.
okay, okay.
Yes, I definitely want to get more into that because that's so rare. So yeah, I definitely want to get. I want to tap more into that part, that
Yeah.
support system that you just mentioned. Tap, yeah,
Yes.
bookmark that for me. All right, because I want
Okay.
to go right back to, not really knowing, and go
Yeah,
back to
I
your
didn't.
childhood, but I want to go back into what. Do you mind me asking what were you? Who were you then? What was your name then?
My name then was Kerwin.
Kerwin.
So
Oh, Kerwin. You should still go
curl
by
like
that.
you curl your hair,
Kerwin.
and win. Mhm.
Kerwin.
So it's not even like masculine. It's not even
What is your
feminine. It's
full name? What was your full name?
Kerwin Calais. It was just Kerwin Calais.
Okay. And you still go by? Don't you go by that sometimes? I mean, well, no, but
No, well, not I don't go by it, but I haven't legally changed my name because I don't
okay.
feel like
Hmm.
it doesn't bother me. It's not like
Okay.
Tim, Bob, John,
I got you.
um, Scott, Brandon. It's nothing like that. So if you was to see my
Right.
name on paper, they don't even know what it is. So it doesn't bother me at all. And I feel that I should keep something that my mom gave me because I changed
Attached
everything
to you.
else.
Noted.
So
Okay. Okay.
it's very distinct. It's very
Yes, it is.
unique, and I would, if I open up a business or any business that I ventured out doing, I'll probably use my government name for it because it's so unique, it's so different.
It is.
Nobody
It is.
know what it is or where it come from or nothing like that. So
But I think it's
that's why I
cool.
don't change my
Kerwin.
legal name.
Yeah, Kerwin, because it sounds like, it's something within the entertainment, but like Kerwin sounds like an entertainer's
Uh-huh.
name. you know,
Uh-huh.
so yeah. So no, that sounds pretty cool. All right, but thank you for sharing that because I didn't know whether or not you wanted to like I was thank you for sharing that.
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
okay. I'm an open book girl. I don't care
All
about
right.
stuff like
Oh, good you said that. Okay. All right. All right. I'm glad you said that. All
that.
right. So growing up, okay, so you being Corwin at the time, we got into some elementary, got into some junior high, and then so now we get into high school. What high school did you go to?
I went to Karen Crow High School.
What's it called?
Karen Crow High School.
Carrie Crow?
Karen Crow, like
Karen
Karen
Karen Crow.
Crow.
Okay,
Hmm.
Karen Crow High School. And
Hmm.
what was that like for you? Because I know you said you went through the phase where you well, I don't know what were your fashions like back then? How did you look back then? Let's go. Let's start there.
Oh, baby, I was making the girls dizzy. Okay, I
Oh,
always was unique. I always
yeah,
was
that's
different.
why I said I want to
I
know.
always,
Like,
I
I
didn't
want to
start
know.
toning down till I got older. But when I was younger, I mean, I had bangles like all the way up to here. I had big hoop earrings. My natural hair was always pretty fairly long, so I always had like a roller wrap. I would do weird things like wear a plat before
Wow.
platinum blonde was a thing. I was wearing platinum blonde wigs to school. I was wearing like hoop earrings. Like I was just extra. I just was living out loud. I didn't care.
Right. You ain't, oh, and so at that time you was more free. You were more free to
Uh-huh.
just kind of. So would you consider yourself androgynous at that time?
Um, I wouldn't say androgynous because I didn't like you to call me he or him or call me my government name. I was already at that time I was going by Kiki. I mean,
Kiki.
that's my family name is Kiki. Everybody calls me
Okay.
Kiki.
Okay.
So everyone they just couldn't call me my government name. I mean, it was always she, her, hers. That was that was the thing. Because if you said he, I was not turning around. If you said him or he, I don't know who you're talking to. Like, so I
Mm.
kind of started already
So you took
adapting
on
to.
that, feminine
Hmm.
by high school. You said
Hmm.
by 16. You did say that by
Yeah,
16.
I was like 15, 16. My freshman year going into my sophomore year, I already knew this is what I want to do. I just didn't know. I didn't know how I was gonna get the money to do it. I didn't know, what was gonna
Hmm.
be,
Yeah.
how it
Right.
was gonna happen. I just knew this is what I wanted and I was going for it.
Oh, well, pause there because I definitely want to explore that because I just want to dig
Mhm.
deeper into your mindset at that time. Because okay, now
Mhm.
we went from you were saying that you was 5 years old, you didn't know what it
Mhm.
was, you didn't know, you because some you probably thought it was a phase two, like I said before, like how
Mhm.
we all wanted to be, something outside of ourselves at that time. But then when you you're older, you know better, you're more aware. So
Mhm.
what was Corwin's Corwin at the time? Because you're still
Mhm.
Corwin, what was Corwin's process at the time of thinking, okay, I'm not a boy. I'm not a boy anymore. I'm a
So
girl.
it
And when did Jay come into play?
it's curling, like curl and
Curl.
win.
That's what I
Yes.
said.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
So I don't consider myself still crowing because nobody knew who that was. That is my government name, but
Right.
that is not
But at
who
that
I
time?
am. At that time, people still wouldn't call me that neither. They was calling
Oh,
me
okay.
Kiki.
Kiki. Okay. Okay.
At that point in time, I knew so my 8th grade year going into my 9th grade year, I was like, I don't know what to say. When everybody was asking what I want to be when I grow up, I was like, I want to be my mama. They was like, what
Mm.
that mean? Like,
Yeah. What that
what that
mean? What
mean?
does that mean?
To
Yeah.
me, it was more of myself expressing I wanted to be a woman, but I just didn't know how to say I want to be a woman. I want to be a girl. I want to. This is what I want to do because they would always pick on. Remember, they always picking on
Yes.
people like
Yes.
that. But the difference between me and them is I knew how to fight. So you talk to me
You
crazy,
talking crazy.
I'm gonna give you
Yeah.
what you
I'm gonna show
need.
you something. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So by the time middle school came, I wasn't gonna say I was a bully, but more so I would bully the bullies.
Okay.
Anybody that was picking on like the weird, they call them the weird kids
I'm
or
gonna
the
get to
kids
you
that
before
just
you get to me.
right. But anybody that I was protective of the people that was different. So anybody
Got
that's
you.
different or
The
anybody
underdogs.
that
Hmm.
yeah, the underdogs. I was more
Hmm.
so of you. If you just see me, meet me, you wouldn't think I knew how to fight. You'd be like, oh,
Of course. Of
yeah,
course.
whatever, whatever.
Hmm.
I'm gonna just say whatever. But that switch turn and I'm on that with anybody.
Right.
So I would be on that and I started getting popular because of me fighting so much. So that's not
Mm.
a good light, but at
I
that
know.
time I
Right.
thought
Right.
that, that's how people was gonna respect me. And
Respect. I was gonna say
it,
that. That's
it
how they got respect.
exactly.
Yeah. And
They
that's
respect me
unfortunate.
and they would I mean it was kind of bad, but at the time I didn't know it was kind of bad that I was known for the punk that know how to fight, is how we say it in
Got you.
Louisiana.
Mm.
And it wasn't a derogatory thing because in Louisiana we would always say like, oh, that's punk, whatever. I punk with this, I punk that. We before it was even a thing, it was just like to identify that person, we would say punk J or punk B or punk A or punk C. That was just what it was. So they were I was known for that punk that know how to fight. And then when I got in high school, I was more so of, um, y'all not gonna call me the punk that know how to fight. You're gonna call me my name. And yes, I do know how to fight. That's part of who I am. But I don't like to
But
fight.
there's
But
more
if you
to it.
play with me or
Hmm.
disrespect me,
Hmm.
I'm gonna give you what you need.
Got it. Duly noted. And so, and okay, so you mentioned that going back to your the start of your transition.
Hmm. Hmm.
You mentioned that you knew that this you wanted to
Yeah,
shift. You wanted to shift, but I just still want to dig a little deeper. Like, how
it's
did you know?
okay.
Like, yeah, how did you know? Like,
Well,
what
let
was
me
it
let
about?
me tell you the
Yeah.
exact moment. I'm gonna tell you the exact moment where I
Yes.
knew this was possible and I knew this was what I was going to do. I was a
Yes.
sophomore in high school and we were going on Bourbon Street and
Urban Street.
I
Okay.
met Bourbon Street. Yeah, so I was with my cousins and my brothers and my friends and stuff. It was on Bourbon Street, and we were standing up, and this beautiful woman just walked past us. I was like, oh my gosh, she is so pretty. And then when I said that, my brother and my cousins them turned around. And they was like, oh, that's Amaya. And I was like, Amaya, who's Amaya? They was like, Amaya Scott. They was like, you don't know her? I was like, no, I don't know who that is. But I also wouldn't watch TV like that or wasn't in social
Mm.
media like that at that time. So I was like, no, I don't know who that is. Who is that? They was like, watch this. They was like, come see. So my cousin knew who she was, and my cousin said, Maya, this is Jade. Jade, this is Maya. Da 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 da. And Maya looked at me. Amaya Scott looked at me. And she said, who's the Dykes mama? And I was like, everybody looking around like, who a dyke? Like, who's a lesbian over here? Like, we all looking around. I'm even looking around like, who a lesbian? She was like, you. I was like, I'm not a dyke. She was like, well, what are you? She was like, I was like, I'm just me. And she was like, oh, baby, you want to me. Let me show you something. So she held my hand the whole time we was on Bourbon Street. And I mean, guys was just falling out for her, like, oh my gosh, she's so fine. Like men running after her. Like it was a lot shaking on Bourbon Street that night because everybody wanted a piece of Amaya. And I was like, oh my God. I didn't even know she was trans. I still didn't know she was transgender at that point in time.
Right.
So we went through the whole night, and my cousin said, this was the end of the night. My cousin was like, guess what? I said, what? He was like, Maya. I was like, yeah, she pretty. I was like, ooh. He was like, she is transgender. And I was like, transgender? What you mean? I was like, no way. He was like, yeah, she used to be this, now she's a woman.
Mm.
And I was like, oh girl. And then she grabbed my hand. She was like, "Come on, baby. I'm gonna show you how this go." And that was the start. She literally was like, this is
Just like
what you
that.
want to do." Yeah, she was like, "This is what you want to do." I literally went to
But
sleep.
and is that something that you wanted to do at that time? This
Yeah,
was something
yeah,
that
I
you
knew.
oh,
I just didn't know it was possible because I'd never seen a
okay.
black transgender woman that was actually beautiful. I seen black transgender women, but
Got
they
it.
was a little,
Yes. More
you couldn't
masculine.
tell, right? You
Right,
couldn't just
right.
tell.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
couldn't
mhm.
tell with her, so that really like put a fire underneath me. Like, oh my god, like I can't believe like this is real.
Right,
And I
right.
asked her, I said, "How did you do this?" She's like, "It comes in time, baby. Don't worry about it." That's exactly what she said. She said, "It comes in time, baby. You gonna get there." And I was like, "Well, I want to get there like tomorrow. Like I've been feeling this way, but
Wow.
now I was like, can I grab your, I was like, can I grab your boob? And then I grabbed it. I was grabbing her boob like I was so shocked. And she was like, "Baby, it's okay." She's like, "It's okay. We you gonna get there, I promise you." And I was like, "Well, how? I don't have no money to do this and this and that and the third." She was like, "You're gonna make a way. It's possible." So I went home that night. I fell asleep. I was living on my own at that time too, and I fell asleep. And I had a dream that I was getting married, but I couldn't see my face or nothing. I just looked down and I seen breasts in a beautiful white dress. Like the dress
Mm,
was like a corset, and I just seen these big old boobs, and I seen my waist snatched. Like I could have seen my body, but I couldn't see me because I was walking down the aisle. Of course, I can't see myself.
right, right.
So I was like, "Oh my god!" And I woke up from the dream, and my best friend was with me at the time. And I woke up and I said, he's like, "What?" I said,
Ah, it was getting good, Jade.
I
Oh,
was like, I'm
oh,
you serious with me? I was like, I'm gonna be a
oh.
transgender woman. And he was like, well, I mean, we've been telling you that you just didn't do it yet. I was like, I'm gonna do it. Watch this. So I woke up, literally took all my clothes that I had, I put it in a bin and I burned it.
Just
All
like
my
that.
wardrobe, anything that was masculine, I threw it out and I burned it. I had one pair of jeans, two t-shirts that were girl shirts, and maybe like one bra.
So you just manifested it just like that. You just manifested it.
Wait, I can't hear you. Oh,
Oh, yeah, I don't know what's
I
going
can't.
on. Yeah, you can hear me? Oh. Go go out and come back in. Go
Okay.
out, come back in. Yeah, so we got some technical difficulties, but we're not gonna let that stop us. You know how this goes. Let me see if I can just I may need to kick her off. Yeah, hopefully she'll be able to get back on. But yeah, because it's getting good. So hopefully, we're about to get into Jade's transformation. She said that she started out as Curlwin, grew up. Unfortunately, she was taunted, bullied, and she knew she was different from the start. And she had to navigate through that. Let's see. She's back. She's back.
"Yeah, sorry about
Okay.
that. I can't
All
hear
right, you had a phone
you."
call?
No, the I couldn't hear you. I just couldn't
You just
hear
could hear
anything.
oh, they
I
just
couldn't hear you.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's weird.
the sound had just went out, and I don't know what that was
Yeah, because it
about.
was getting good. I was just like, "How they gonna just cut off like that?"
But
So you
but
you left off, you said that you burned all
yeah, I
clothes,
burnt all
your
my
clothes.
clothes,
Mhm.
all my anything that was male figured or masculine, anything that wasn't feminine, I threw it all out. Once I threw it out, I knew that it was no going back. Like,
Wow.
what you want to do? Like, so, um, in the gay world, we have gay fathers
Yes.
and gay mothers and stuff like that. So, Amaya's daughter, at the time, ended up adopting me as her um, daughter and gay daughter in the gay world, her gay daughter, and I had a gay dad, and they pretty much was like, okay, this is what it is. So they call it the this is a bad word, please don't say it, but everybody would call it the tranny boot camp is what we call
Mm,
it.
okay,
And
okay.
they basically what that mean was basically they taught me how to do all the feminine things that I didn't know how to do. Like, where how to put my bra on properly, how to do my hair, how to do my makeup, how to polish nails, how to, just how
Mm.
to.
Yeah, so they groomed you,
Yeah,
not
they groomed me,
in
right.
that sense. Yes.
Yes, they groomed me into this.
Yeah. So let me ask you, because I want to get more into, okay, before we get to more into the process, I want to get more into the support that you have, because how did your family react to this?
Well, I wouldn't tell nobody do what I did, but but I was already tired of kind of, I'm not gonna say hiding, but kind of tired of,
Because you said you was
you
living on your
know,
own already. Well,
yeah, I was
because,
living on my own already, but I had already came out to my family.
oh, okay.
That's how I ended up going to be on my own. Was, I had little brothers at the time, they're babies, and my dad and my mom were very supportive, and they said, "Well, if you want to do this, then we'll get you your own space, and as long as you got a job paying your bills, and as long as you're going to school and you
Mm,
graduate, we're going to continue to have your own place. But if you don't make good grades, if you're not working, if you're not doing anything, you're going to come back home." And I didn't want to
yeah.
go back home.
Oh, wow.
I
So, I
didn't
mean,
want to
so
go
they
back
was
home.
just, I mean, so they was like really like those like non-conventional parents.
Yeah, they were very supportive. They were very, very
Wow.
supportive. And my brother was really the driving force for that, because my brother could explain it better than I could.
Got
I
it.
didn't
Right.
I didn't know the
Because you was
terminology
already
or how
there.
to say,
Right.
yeah, and he's older than me, and he was in the gay world before me, so he kind of knew how to explain it to my mom and dad so they could understand. And I'm
Got it.
more so of a clean cut, like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. I'm gonna just give it to you dry, no
Hmm.
lube. Like, I'm gonna just let you know, like, I literally, this is how I came out. I literally was sitting at the table and I was like, my dad was like, you got something to say or you got something to talk about or whatever? I was like, yeah, actually I do. I was like, well, and I always had long hair, like I told you. So it was down like in a low ponytail at first. So I bent my head over, put my hair in a high bun, and I was like, I'm a girl.
Mm. And how
And
far were you in your transition at that time, in your
I
transformation?
wasn't even. I had just
Oh, you didn't
started taking
start yet.
hormones. I had just started taking
You
hormones,
just
so I
start.
was
Okay.
still. I still was like, it was kind of hard for me to kind of hide it because my body was changing. My breast was growing, my body was getting more softer, and my dad would look but don't say nothing. He would just look at me, but he would never say nothing. So I kind of had an inkling that he was like, "What's going on?"
You knew something
Like
was
trying to
going
figure
on,
out,
right?
right, trying to figure out what's happening. But I just like, I'm the type of person where if I don't say something or how I feel at that point in time, it's going to work my
Yes,
nerves. I have
yes,
like a knot in my throat.
yes.
You could tell something is wrong with me, like what's going on, and they were like, "What's wrong?" And as soon as he said, "What's wrong?" I could tell something's wrong. I just was like, "Well, I'm a girl,"
Mm.
and I just put my hair up and I crossed my legs and I just did like a number, like,
Yeah.
and he just
Uh,
looked at me and he was like, he got up from the kitchen table and he went and grabbed a bottle of gin and he just downed it.
oh, because it was
He
a
just,
lot. That's a lot to process. Like,
yeah, it's a lot to process, and it
like
was
in your
so,
face. Yeah.
yeah. And I don't tell nobody to do what I did because it was very straightforward, and my parents didn't really have time to process their thoughts. It was just more
Right.
so take it or leave it. This is what I'm doing,
Right. Right.
and it worked out for me, but it may not work out for everybody, but it worked out for me. It worked out for me.
So when you started your were you already out of high school, or when you started? Oh, you were
I
still
was still in high school. I was a sophomore, about to be a junior.
about to be a junior. Okay,
Hmm.
and so how was it like, going through that phase, going through that process, especially in high school? You know.
Well, see, because for me, I felt alive, and it was only
Okay.
because, um, I mean, some people probably say I was attractive when I was before who I was before, but I didn't feel attractive. I felt
Mm.
ugly. I felt fat. I felt just,
Mm.
I didn't feel like myself. But when I started transitioning, it was like, I was like, "What's up, y'all?" I come to school. I got on a full bra. I got on some extensions in my head. I'm like, everybody looking
Like,
like,
hey,
"Who's
how you
that?"
doing?
First
And
of
what
all,
about the
everybody looked.
teachers though? What about the teachers, this faculty? Did they say
Um,
anything?
they did because we wore uniforms in school, and we weren't supposed to. The boys, the males, can't wear earrings, and I always had on
Oh,
big
right,
hoop
right,
earrings, and they was trying to, they didn't know how to take that because I was really loud and I'm proud. I didn't care what
right.
nobody thought. I didn't think about what nobody was going to think. And even work, I mean, I got fired from my job because of it. There was like,
Really?
whoa. Yeah, there was like, whoa, what's going on? You just come to work one day and you like
I
this.
don't know.
You
Yeah.
gotta like take your time with this. I'm like, no, this is who I am. If I don't like it, whatever. They found a different reason they still say fired me, but I know it was because They
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what was going on, and
Right.
I wasn't hard, but I wasn't as soft. So it wasn't like so passable. You could have tell a little bit, because I wasn't there yet. So
Right.
they probably didn't know how to handle that. So I don't blame them for like. And I was working at a hospital at the time, so all the
Mm.
doctors was used to seeing me as one thing, and I just come in one day, I'm a whole different person. Like they're like, "What's
Right.
going
Right.
on?" But I felt that if I didn't start now, if I didn't just throw it in their face, they would never take me serious. I felt that
Mm.
you need to accept it or not. I don't care. I really didn't care. I wish I was more like that to this day, but I really didn't care what people thought. Like I just really didn't. It didn't
Yeah,
bother me.
yeah, but I just feel I admire that actually because I mean that type of bravery I think a lot of people wish they had.
Yeah,
And so I know you probably aspire more people than you think, because
yeah.
bravery even back then in high school, that's not easy to do. That's not easy for you to just,
And of
you know,
course, you got the bullies
yeah,
and stuff. That's like, what is
right.
going on? Who is that? Whatever. And I would always turn my head like, what? What was said? What happened?
Like
Because
what
I'm
you want
still
to
that.
know?
Don't let it fool you. Because I'm still that
Right.
person that will BTA real quick. But they would get
Yeah.
it together. They would,
You have
it
to,
would
yeah,
be
you have to
different.
remind. Sometimes you have to give reminders out. I understand. You have to remind some folks.
Right. And not
Yeah.
only that, I mean, I was always popular too. I always,
Okay.
I was popular because of my friends, my homegirls, or popular for fighting, and then popular because a lot of my homegirls were the prettier, popular girls. So, I'm learning I have them doing my hair and doing my makeup for school and stuff.
Right.
So,
Wow.
yeah. And a lot of guys will get cool with me to get closer to the girls.
Yeah, and plus because it's like it's so like because it's like I think for them it's like so like unique, it's so like exotic, it's like so
Hmm.
out there. You're so out there, so it's like they can't help but to gravitate towards you. So
Yeah,
I
and,
would
and
think
my
in that sense,
my personality is
yes, yeah,
crazy. So I always had a crazy loud personality that's like, "What's up, y'all? What we doing? Like, what we going after this?" Like,
yeah. You had that freedom in you, and it was just like, and I think that, like I said, that attracted so many people to you. So yeah, I do understand that part. So when you get from high school, like what activities did you do in high school? How were your grades, and what type of activities did you get into in high school?
so believe
You
it
you
or
still in
not,
theater?
I was still in theater. I actually have a Letterman's jacket for theater. I was still in
Oh,
theater. But my dad at the time, when I was still living at home, he was like, "Well, you got to do a sport. You can't." But at that point in time, I probably was thinking, I don't know what my dad was really thinking, but in my mind, I'm thinking he probably wanted me to do a sport because I was getting so soft, and he probably didn't know why. Not say that's what he was
mm,
thinking, but in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. He's thinking like, "Why is she so soft? She gotta probably get into
toughen
some
up.
sports or something, right?"
Mm,
So he was like, we're gonna put you, he's like, when you come home, you need to be in a sport. I don't care what it is, soccer, I don't care if it's tennis, I don't care if it's whatever it is, gotta be something. So I got into swimming, believe it or not.
mm.
Yeah, I went
Okay,
a competitive swimmer. I was a competitive
okay.
swimmer, one of the best. I went from not knowing all the strokes, literally the last pick of the team, to by the time my sophomore, junior year came, I was the
Wow.
captain of the team. So,
Mm.
but I always did kind of knew how to swim because my mom has a fear of water. So my dad would always make sure we didn't have that fear of water. So he would always keep us in the water and stuff like that. And that was just a sport that I picked up like just easy. It was just easy to me, like swimming, and it actually made me feel more feminine, to be honest. When people
Was
be
it?
like, "What made you swim?"
Yeah.
But
What was the
swim,
unisex team?
huh?
Was it a unisex team?
Yeah, it was a unisex team. It was a
Okay.
unisex team.
And what were you wearing then?
Speedos. Speedos.
Oh my God. No, they're not. Speedos in
Yeah,
high school? What?
Speedos.
Oh,
Speedos
I just
and
had to ask.
the swimming cap. Like, yeah, I was real, but you could have tell I was different because I used to be a bigger kid. So I went from like 200 and
Really?
I was like 200 and like 20 pounds, and I got down to when I started swimming really good, and because not only
Right.
did I swim at school, I would go outside of school, and I started practicing with the state. So the
Yeah,
state would,
wow.
yes, I started doing that, and so it's
Okay.
like I was getting double the workout. So I would start losing weight really fast. I got down to like 130 at
Yeah,
6 foot tall.
water exercises.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would get it.
hmm And I
Wow,
mean,
really?
I had dropped weight like instantly, but to me, I was like, "Oh, girl, you snatched that, like you
Right.
fine, like
You could really tell you nothing then.
you couldn't
Don't
tell
want to
me
tell you nothing.
nothing."
Wow,
can
that is
tell me
amazing. Oh,
nothing.
okay. So you're a good swimmer. So that's good. All right, that's good to
Yeah,
know.
and
That's so
and
cool.
I think you had asked the question about how did everybody react, but um, for me, when I was in my former self, I didn't really get that much attention. But when I became Jade, it was like I'm not used to men trying to
It was
talk to
up
me
from
and come
there.
up to me and asking me this and that. I'm like, back up! Why are you so close to me? Like it was a shell shock for me. Like, why are you staring at me? Like I would always ask them, like, why are you staring at me? They be like, cause you're pretty. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Wow. So it was a shock. It was more of a shock factor for you, the type of
Yeah,
attention you was getting.
yeah, because I wasn't used to
Oh
that at
yeah.
all.
Okay. No, I get it. He's like, wait a minute now. Okay. What's your, what are you here for? What do you want?
What's your motive? Like, why are you
Right.
so close to
Right.
me?
Well, that is okay. But so now when you went from high school, where did you go from there? From high school, what did you do
High
from there?
school, so transitioning in Louisiana was really tough for me because
Mm,
people would still I'm not gonna say they would still try to disrespect me, but they just knew me for so long. Like where I grew up in Louisiana, you literally go to probably the same middle school, the same high school, the same elementary school. So they knew this person their whole life. And then now
right.
I'm a wholly different person.
Mm-hmm.
So even when I'll be out in public or something, they will see me looking like this, but they will be like, crowing, hey. And I'm like, doing that. So it was kind of like a disrespect thing.
Right.
And I also felt like they wasn't going to take me seriously. So after I graduated high school, I moved to Houston, and that's where the games begun.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Okay.
And that's where the games begun.
Yes, do tell, do tell.
Yeah. So when I was 18, I graduated high school. I was 18, and I moved to Houston. My brother was living in Houston,
Okay.
and I wasn't around, people I knew or anything like that. This was the first time I was actually taken serious. Like I moved to Houston and I mean, this is who I presented. So of course it was easier for me to get a job. And I realized that it's so easier to get a job as a female than who I was before.
Okay.
So
So
and
okay, so Jay, before we get to, I'm sorry, when you said you moved to Houston, where were you in your transition at that time? How far were you?
I was far along. I didn't have any surgeries yet, but I was far along. I
Okay.
was I was already soft. I was already, I had big hormone breasts and things like that. I was already soft. I mean, I've been hormoning since I was 15, 16 years old.
Oh,
So,
oh,
I was
okay.
already like soft and everything. But I just wasn't like, I'm not gonna say I wasn't stuffing my bra yet, but I had little breasts that you would see through my shirt,
Right.
but I wasn't putting on
Fully developed.
yeah, like I wasn't stuffing it so
Mhm.
you could really see it. But then when I moved to Houston, all that changed. When I moved to Houston, I I really felt like I was diamond from the Players Club because there was like I was working at McDonald's and this girl was like, "You are so pretty." I was like, "Thank you," but she was saying that because she knew, you know, we were sisters. So she was like,
Got
"You
it,
are so
got it,
pretty," and I
got
was
it.
like, "Thank you," and she was like, "Well, you like working at McDonald's?" And I was like, "I mean, you know, I just
Pays the
moved here,
bills.
so I'm just paying my bills, like, you know." And she was like, "Girl, you can do so much more. You're so pretty. You can do so much
Oh,
more."
that
Like,
is diamond for the Players Club.
yeah, she was like, "You can do so much more." That's really how I felt. She was like, "You can do so much more." I really can think it at that point in time. Um, I had ran out of hormones, and she was the hormone lady. She was the lady that
Mm.
would actually supply the transgender girls with hormones. So she
What
had gave me
or
her
like
con.
what type of hormones? Those are like the dangerous boule type of hormones, or
Well, she would get it prescribed, but I wouldn't
oh,
tell
okay,
nobody to take other people's hormones because everybody's body's different. Everybody,
okay,
have different, everybody's body is different. So, but I
yes.
was the girl that was like, I don't care. Like, I need to be soft at all time, at all costs. I had ran out of hormones. Like, I did my own thing when I was in Louisiana, but I had never like switched over everything yet. So I ran out of hormones. I got in contact with her. She started, supply me with hormones and stuff like
Mm.
that. And from then, I mean, we started talking. And I was like, "Well, how do you make money? Like, how do you don't got a job? What do you do?" And that's when I found out about the escorting business and stuff like that. And I didn't know, that was a thing like that. I mean, I kind of knew, but I didn't really. That wasn't something I
Yeah,
had to do. So
you
it was
wasn't paying
like,
attention to it. Yeah,
right. It
yeah.
wasn't. I didn't know how
It was not
serious
something
and
you would
deep it was.
consider, so you wouldn't think about
Mm-hmm.
it. Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about it. So I didn't have to, go that route or anything like that. But when you're around people that is making your check in one day, you're like, what do I
Yeah.
do?
Would you right.
What and at that time I wanted implants so bad. I was like, I need my birth anyway. These little McDonald's checks is taking all my bills. I'm never gonna further my transition. So I dabbled and dabbed in the fast life for a second. It just wasn't for me though. Like I never had to do it. So when I did it, I was so green to it. It just made me feel, weird. Like I didn't know how to maneuverate. I didn't know what was the right thing to do, what was not the right thing to do. I didn't know. I knew some things, but I didn't know how dangerous it could be,
Right.
And
And she double
I
person
was
didn't
just
guide you at all. They didn't get because some people kind of take you under their wing. They didn't really,
Yeah, I mean, I had, again, I still had Amaya and I still had her daughter at the
right,
time. But again, my Amaya was living in Atlanta. She was living, my gay mom was living in Louisiana. So there wasn't
right
with
near
me
you.
no more, like near me.
Mhm.
So I had to kind of figure things out. But for the most part, I kind of knew what needed to be done. I just didn't know how, um, how I was going to get all that money is what I was thinking. I was like, dang,
Mhm.
a breast implant job is like $5,000. Like, how am I gonna get that? Where am I gonna
Right,
get that from? And this and that.
right.
So I started trying to dabble in the fast life, which didn't work out for me. And some girls it work out for, some girls it don't. For me, it just didn't work out because I was used to having a job. I was used to, they got to stay up all night and stuff like that. Baby, I like to go to bed. I like to go to sleep. Like I'm missing all the money because I'm asleep. Like they're like, girl, you never gonna make no money. You sleep. I'm like, baby, this is not for me. This is not what I want to
Right.
do.
Well, I'm
I'm
glad you
like,
early on.
yeah. So I was like, oh, this is not for me. And I don't judge. That's
Right.
what gets you the money to do what you do. It just wasn't for me because I didn't know how to operate like that. Like I went to school and everything. I also went to college. After high school, I went to college in Houston.
Yeah. Mhm.
I was used to a regular life. Not saying that their life not regular, but it's dangerous and scary
What
a
was your
little bit.
major? What was your major in college? What college did you
Theater.
go to? Theater. Oh, okay. So you stayed in
Mm-hmm.
theater. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Theater
Okay.
and mass communication. That was what I
Theater
was
mass
going. Now I didn't
communication.
finish, but I did go
Okay.
and I
What
I
school did you
dropped
go
out.
to?
I went to TSU for a little while, then I went to Lone Star for a moment.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so you said theater and mass communications because so
Hmm.
you kind of knew what lane you wanted to be on. It
Yeah,
just a
I
matter
always
of
knew. I
yeah.
always knew where I wanted to be. Like I always knew, and it's crazy that I'm older now and I think about it, but I always knew what I wanted to do. And it took to me it felt like it took a long time, but when I look at it now, I'm like, you really went quicker than a lot of people. But for me, I felt like I was I wanted to do it for so long. I felt like I was I felt like I was behind, but I really wasn't behind for real.
Right, got it. Yeah. So when you study theater in college,
Hmm.
you felt like the escort game wasn't for you. How long were you in it before you decided that it
Oh,
wasn't
girl, maybe
something?
like a month. It was
Oh,
not
oh,
long at
it was
all.
like
It was not long at
short-lived.
all. It was not long at all. It was not long at all. Like and of course you meet people while you're doing it. And I kept a few people that was close to me that was giving me some money or whatever, but
Right,
I
right,
didn't know how to cut them off neither. I was like, well, because my thing is, I really genuinely would try to get to know them, but that's not how you supposed to do it. You really supposed to get your money and go. You're not here to make friends. You're here to make some money. But I'll be
right.
sitting there making friends, like talking to them, like, okay, and then what else happened? And then what you do this day? Oh, and then how's your wife? And how's the kids? And I'm like their home girl for real.
Mhm.
So they're like, you shouldn't be doing this. I remember one of my clients that literally told me, you're not
This
meant for
ain't for
this.
you.
This is not for you. You're
Yeah.
intelligent. You just like from when I ran across you, the most intelligent person I've met. You don't live your life going
Mhm.
in between or trying to be something you're not. You're really a woman. I can't even look at you nothing else but a woman. Like he was like, you got a good head on your shoulders. And I was still working a 9 to 5 as well, so I'm trying to
Mm.
do that and work. I always had a job, so I always was trying to work and that. Now mind you, I will say, my gay parents and my gay fathers and my gay mother and grandmother and stuff like that, they would tell me like, no, like you don't. Why are you trying to do? They was trying to get me to not do it. They was like, why do you want to do that? Like I was like, because it's faster money. But they were like, no, 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 no. Like what sets you apart is that you in the real world and working and going to school and stuff like that. So they were really positive in my life. They was not trying to get me to do that at all. And of course, my real parents didn't know I was doing it at all. So
Right, of course, of course. But I'm just glad to see that, and that's a blessing in itself to be able to have not only, your support system saying, okay, no, this is not the road that you want to go to, and I'm glad
Mhm.
that you able to get out of it before it escalated to something
Anything could
that it had to. It could have ended up, you know,
back, right.
'cause like with the whole Raffican thing going on. I
Mhm.
try to be mindful of certain words
Mhm.
that I use.
Mhm.
It could have ended up. So I'm really commend you for understanding, okay, this is not for me. And even, people, because they didn't have to tell you that. They
Yeah,
could
they
have just,
didn't. They could have let
right.
me do
They
it.
didn't have to care that much at all. They really didn't. So the
And they
fact that they
cared.
did, then that was God in their ear as well. Believe it or not, that was probably God in their ear,
Yeah.
working through them to get to you. So, I
Yeah.
commend you for,
Thank
for
you.
separating
Thank you.
yourself from that.
I yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like and I would beat myself up when I was kind of younger because I would be like a lot of my sisters, I call them my sister, my transgender sisters, all of my sisters will kind of um make me feel like, or they would be like, "Oh, you think you better than us or something?"
Uh,
Like,
mm,
and that's what else kind
mm.
of had kind of pressured me into kind of doing it was more so of
Survivor's remorse.
I didn't want them to feel like I was better than no, I don't feel like I'm better than you. It's just I just always had a job. I can't help
Right.
that. Like, I just
Right. And you shouldn't apologize for it either.
right. Yeah, now that I'm older, I know that, but back
Right.
in the days I was apologizing to
Right.
them like,
Yeah, yeah, you
I'm
got
so
survivor's
sorry.
remorse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
make you feel like this. I'm not better than you. I'm the same as you. It's just that I got a different path than you. That's
Yeah,
all. Like,
right.
but
In
we're the
fact,
same. And I'll be telling them, like, look, you had at that point in time, like, look, y'all got your breast and stuff done yet. I didn't even have my breast and stuff done yet. So I was like, this and that, and the third. I mean, but shortly after I did get my breast done, but still.
what were you doing? Okay, what was your regular job at the time?
I had started working for Starbucks I
Okay.
started off as a barista, and then I worked my way up all the way to store manager. So that was literally my job for so long. Like I think from I
Oh,
was maybe like 20 to I was like 26.
wow. Okay,
No,
that
not
is a long
26. I'm sorry, not 26. Maybe like 24.
wow. Yeah, that's
Um,
so long. Yeah, that's wow, that's a
no,
while.
not even 24. Maybe like 23. From like 18 to like 23 or
Right,
24 between them age frames.
right.
And then after that, I got into sales, and that's when I started selling to like high end clients. I was selling furniture, it wasn't a regular furniture store; it was a luxury furniture store, and
Mhm.
we would get like all the local rappers and all the NBA players and all the things. So
Okay.
that's when I really started getting into
Connections.
exactly connections and networking and things like that. Because it was like, you are so amazing. You're so different. But for a while, I had stopped telling people I was trans because it would kind of hinder me. And that, back in the days, it wasn't like
Oh, yeah,
a
right.
thing.
Yes,
So
yes.
I'm not gonna say I hid it, but yet, you don't ask me, I ain't telling you. You know what I'm
Right, you
saying?
got
So
to right,
so
right.
I kept it like that. But that's what made me the connections that I you know got in Houston, and my life from there soared.
Yeah, yeah, and it's sort of, so, how did it source? So you went, you said that you went into sales, you
Mhm,
always maintain a job, long-term
mhm,
work, so that's a good thing.
mhm,
So,
mhm.
and you went from there, and is that around the time you moved to Atlanta? Or you were
Yeah,
still
I was in Houston. I was with an ex-husband. I had got married
Oh,
without nobody knowing.
I
So I
didn't
had got
know.
kind of
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
I sure didn't. I sure didn't know. I had no idea.
I had got divorced. That's what made me another reason what made me move to Georgia was because I was just getting out of that and I just wanted to start over. So
What started new,
and,
what
and
and why Georgia?
well, Georgia, you already know why, but I moved to Georgia because I met, well, I didn't meet, but my best friend, Jade Gerard, um, he was in the entertainment industry. He's a singer songwriter. You know him, and everybody know him.
Mhm.
So we always did. We knew each other in college and stuff like that, and then we always just kept communication and stuff like
Got
that.
it.
And he was living out here, and he was like, "I have this wonderful podcast idea and this show. Well, I'm
Mm.
sorry, before it was a podcast, it was a show. And he had this wonderful idea. He's like, I feel like you'll be great for you. Always been a star. Like I just knew that you're gonna be something. Like he put fire underneath me, like,
Yes, he will pour into you.
girl,
Yeah, yeah.
right. He was like, girl, you're it. You're the girl. Like I'm telling you, you're the girl. And I'm like, I was married and with someone for so long
Yeah, so
and
what go back to that, Jade. I wanna
then
get more into the marriage part. So how long were you married? But first of all, how long were you married?
Altogether 6.5 years, going on 7 years, something like
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay, and so how was the marriage overall? Like, you know,
It was good. I mean, we didn't have no issues or anything. We wasn't like we didn't fall in a bad way, should I say. I
you
wish him the
mhm,
best. I felt we just had two different paths in life. He wanted me to be a housewife. I wanted to be outside and being a celebrity. He
mhm.
wanted more of a traditional life. I wanted a luxury life. So we
Yeah.
just was on two different paths, and we just decided to, go our separate ways.
Okay, and so we will go before we go further into your life in Atlanta. I just also want to kind of get more into what your preference is as far as who you normally date. Is it, do you
Mm.
date straight men? Get like how what is your preference when it comes to who you date?
So, I date. See, a thing about me is I normally keep my love life private,
Hmm.
but since it's your faith, I'm gonna open up a little bit. Technically, I'm not picky. I'm not. I lean towards a more of a masculine guy, but I'm not picky. If he's in the community, he's in the community. If he's not, he's not. You know. But for some odd reason, I'm not gonna say some odd reason. 9 times out of 10, I'm probably with a heterosexual male. And that's not saying I haven't dated or
Hmm.
been with men that have been in the community that consider themselves bisexual or consider themselves, um, whatever they consider themselves. I don't judge, and if you like me, if you like me and I like you, that's all that matters. But I tend towards that. I mean, I have dated some trans men as well,
Okay,
so I'm not like that
selective.
wouldn't be. Yeah, I'm not selective. I don't judge. So if I like you and I think you're attractive, then I'm gonna go for you,
As
or
long as
you'll go
it's
for
a
me.
male, as long as it's a male.
A male figure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And I
Now,
just
I
want
mean, if
to.
a girl want to come my way, then hey.
She open to that too. So you fluid.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
fluid.
yeah. I haven't really had an experience with a girl,
Okay.
but now that I'm older, I'm like, oh,
You
what would
wanted to
that be
explore
like?
that. All right.
I'm open to it a little bit.
Okay. Okay. You hear that, y'all? All right. See, I'm
I'm
trying.
open to it a little bit.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, but I wanted to ask that question. Well, also because a lot of times when you have transgender women, they always have a more. I mean, I don't know. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but based on what I hear, they seem like they have a preference towards straight men, heterosexual
Yeah,
men.
I used to be like that when I was younger.
Hmm.
When I got older, I realized that with heterosexual men, um, it's complicated because I've been in relationships with them as well, and they will think that if they sleep with a cisgender woman or bio woman, however you want to call it, I don't know the terminology. Don't crucify me to the cross, but a biological woman, they will feel
Biological.
like if they sleep with a biological woman is not cheating on you because you're not the same as they consider it, not the same as them because you have two different body parts or something like that, or you wasn't born that way. So it always it's challenging. You got to be really careful with that because it's challenging because I'm not gonna say they're confused. It's just more so of they don't feel like they're doing anything wrong.
Right.
So that was my big challenge. And at first, for the longest time, I only used to date, straight men,
Straight. Straight.
whatever.
Hmm.
Heterosexual men, I used to only date them. But I as I got older, I started opening up my eyes and realizing like sometimes it's okay if they like what they like. They, as long as they treat me as I present myself, as long as they treat me as a woman and don't disrespect me, I'm open to it. Now, I'm not saying that I just need everybody under the rainbow coming to me. It's just more so of
Right. No, I get it.
it's who I like. I like. I'm not picky.
Got you. So, when you have a connection with someone, do you let them know off the bat? Do you let them know
Like my tea
right away? Do you let them know?
depends. It just
On.
depends, and I say it depends because it depends on if I am just meeting you and like say we're in a public setting and there's a bunch of people around
Mhm.
and they're trying to talk to me. You got to be careful because if you're trying to talk to me in public and I would say, hey, I'm trans, you know, some men can't
Right.
accept that, and they're gonna punch you. They're
Yeah,
gonna
I'm not saying like I
you.
mean, I'm not
It's
saying to like
yeah,
announce it to the world, but I'm just saying, do
yeah.
you have that conversation? Like, do you know, do you tell that
I
person directly
so
or
so for me, I don't never say it verbatimly. I'm a text girl. I rather text you that than like tell it to you out loud. Don't
oh,
ask me why. I always been that type of girl. Like I'm gonna tell you, or if I do say it out loud, we're in private. There's nobody around, and it's just me and you. But I'm never going to. Um, I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm scared, but more so, I'm a fireball. So if I feel like they disrespect me, because some men will feel
right.
away, and
'Cause
they'll try to
you don't know how they're gonna
disrespect me.
react to it.
Yeah, and I don't know how
Mhm.
I'm gonna react because I'm
Right.
always protected.
Always
So
ready.
if you start acting crazy, then
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna turn up with you. I'm not that girl that's gonna
Right.
turn the other cheek. I'm gonna get that with you, and
You're
then
gonna
that
meet
could go
you're gonna meet them
wrong.
where they are. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
therefore, I like to say it in a text message, or now that's before we even get on a date or anything like that. Like I'm not gonna go on a date with you. I'm not gonna be in your presence
Yeah,
alone
yes.
with you without you knowing
Mhm.
who and what I am,
So
because
you
I'm
so
not ashamed
you
of it.
right, so you honest right off the bat.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. All right. Oh, that's good to know. Okay. Because that's something I wanted to get more into. But all right. But I wanted to establish that first. So now you're going to you moving from Houston to Georgia and you meet with Javen and y'all talk about having a podcast or you talk about working together. So
yes, of course,
so
yeah.
so yeah, so take it from there.
So yeah, so we my best friend, he always doing something, child. So he had we was working on a show at first, and then we ended up doing a podcast together with him and his fiance. So we were doing that fashion craze. Faith, you're part of it as well, so you already know.
Mhm.
That's how I met Faith, y'all. Is doing the podcast and the
Mhm.
show and
Mhm.
stuff. So
Yes.
we was doing that, and everything just smoothed out from there. And then we was all on. Me, Javen, and his fiance was on a Caught in
Oh, so
the
that's
Act.
how. Oh, see, I didn't meet not too long before that. Not too long before Fashion Craze.
Who, me and Javen?
No, no, no.
I
I
mean,
know you said you and Javen Mensa's
no,
college.
yes, yes.
All
I
right,
I met I met his
our guy.
fiance. Yeah,
Hmm.
I met his
Around that time.
fiance
Okay.
when
Yes.
when
Okay.
now, mind you, I was before I moved. I was flying back and forth, and I was
Okay.
filming.
All right.
I was
Okay.
filming. I was filming Official New Atlanta, and
Got it.
our
Hmm.
guy was doing my makeup and stuff like that. And
Okay.
we built a bond from that, and then from there, we just all got cool. We really just all built a family dynamic.
Hmm.
And then, Javen decided to move me here and everything like that. So then we moved here and everything, and we always click tight from there. So then if you watch Love and if you watch Caught in the Act, y'all seen the tea
Yeah.
with
Oh, we're gonna get
the
into that. Oh, we're gonna get. Oh, yes, we're gonna get into that. But before that, I just wanted to get more into um your dynamic between you, Olga and Javen. And I just want to, and I'll mention y'all three because y'all are all part of the community. And I just want to know from your experience, what is, 'cause I mean, in Atlanta, I mean, it's like a whole melting pot of the LGBTQIA.
Mhm.
But was it any pushback? Did you receive any type of, like any type of lack of love, from the masses? Like, or were you more accepted here?
To be honest, this was the first place that I actually felt discriminated against.
Mm,
Uh, very
interesting.
first place, very first place. I mean, my whole entire life, like, yeah, they'll make little comments or something like that, but actually to go inside of a establishment and get discriminated against, it never happened to me. I don't know
Mm,
if it's because I'm passable or what. I don't know what
mm,
that looks like, but I specifically remember Javen and I and our guy, we had a booking at this club, and we get to the club, and Javen and our guy wear bags sometimes, so it was like, hey, males can't bring their bag in. So we went walk to the car and put their purses up. So then we came back, and the guy at the door, he was like, he still couldn't tell, but then he looked at my ID, and this is before I had my paperwork changed over to female. So when he looked at my ID, he was like, oh, men can't bring bags in the club, and I was shocked. It had never happened to me before. Like that
Mm,
had never. I mean, it never, ever, ever, ever happened to me
mm,
ever in life. So I I actually stood there, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I started crying because
mm.
I had never experienced that, and I've heard stories of my sisters going through things like that. I just personally didn't go through it. So when I first moved here,
Mm,
that was shocking to me. I was gagged. I was like, so I looked at Javen and I'm
right,
like,
right.
and he like, what's wrong? I'm like, I can't go in. He was like, why? I said, because he said I can't bring my bag in. So David and Robert was like, why she can't bring her bag in? And it was like, he's like, because I told y'all males can't bring their
Mm,
purse in the club. And I was shocked. I was shook.
mm.
I was gagged. Like, and they asked me. Even the owner came out the club and was like, I'm gonna let him go home for the night, and I'm gonna get somebody else to do security. We don't allow disrespect here. They were really trying to make it right, but I felt so.
Yeah,
Oh,
it,
not only
damage was
did he
done.
do it, not only did
Yeah.
he do it, but it was a whole line of people that he did it
Oh,
in front of.
wow.
So
Mm.
at that point, I felt like my safety was gonna be
In jeopardy.
in
Mm,
jeopardy because what
mm.
if any of the men that was in line that was checking me out, you know,
Yeah.
they get
Yeah.
in the club and they feel played. They could shoot me, they could hit me. I just felt like I
Yeah.
was in
Yeah.
danger. So Javen and Robert asked me, Javen and our guy asked me, what would I like to do? Would I like to leave? But do I want to stay because they're going to make it you better with us? They're going to send us more bottles. They're going to pay us more, this and that and the third. And I was just like, I'm just not comfortable.
Mm,
And I may say my friends, they stuck with me. They was like, she's not comfortable. We're not doing it because
mm.
that person should have knew we were coming there, and
Right,
should have
right.
knew that we was the ones that were booked for that club that night. So that was the first. This was the first place I felt that, and that's what made me go get everything changed to female on my paperwork and things like that because I just didn't like that feeling, and I feel bad for any trans woman who has to go
Right.
through that because that's not a
Mm-hmm.
good feeling at all. Like, I mean,
Right.
you see me, you see me, you see me in person. I don't give nothing of a man. Like
Mm,
you see me, men fall out for me all the time.
mm.
So for him to do it, he purposely wanted to single me out. He
Yes.
purposely wanted me to
Yes.
feel that way, and that wasn't cool. I mean, I think I called my mom when I got in the car because I was just like I had never experienced this in my life. So that was that was real.
Yeah. And I'm
It
sorry
was
you had to
real.
go
It
through
was
that.
crazy for me. I mean, but then again,
Yeah.
afterwards, I was like, okay, I see how they moving out here. So now I keep my head on a swivel.
Got you.
I mean,
Got
but now
you.
they can't clock nothing either because they look at my ID. Everything says female. So
Everything is right. And so,
so they
but-
can't do anything.
so during this time that you relocated, did you have all your all your parts, everything? Would you
Yeah,
full
yeah.
full
Hmm.
transformation?
Hmm.
Do you still have?
I would just leave it like that.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So you in Atlanta, and so let me ask, because I know you always say you kept the regular job. Because do you still work at the hotel, Jay?
No, I don't actually. I actually now I'm back in sales. At first I was
Oh,
working from home for a long time for a financial company.
okay.
I was working from home doing that for a very long time, but I felt like um, it was making me social. What's the word? Social anxiety. It was giving me social anxiety
Okay.
because I was always and
Mm.
socially awkward because I was in the house for like 2 3 years. Like I know you probably like where's Dave? Where's she been? But everything I do was doing was from home. I just recently got back into sales and back
Oh,
outside
okay.
like that, because I pushed myself to do that and I moved in that direction because I'm like I noticed when I would go in public, I would have the worst anxiety. And that
Mm,
didn't happen to me at first. Like that, I was normal. I would always be, around people, talking to people, whatever. I would never have anxiety going outside or being in a bunch of being in a crowd or something like that. So I felt like that was making me have anxiety, and so now I'm back outside in sales. Not
back
literally
outside. Yeah.
outside, not
But what
literally
made,
outside,
so
but
where did the anxiety come from? Like, do you know? Like, when did that come? Where did that come from?
I feel like it's from working from home for so long. Like, because I'm
Oh,
always by
okay.
myself, always
Okay.
at home. Like,
Okay.
I barely would go anywhere. Like
Mm-hmm,
it
mm-hmm.
actually started hindering me, to be honest, because I wasn't even doing my content like I'm supposed to. I wasn't, doing the things that made me happy anymore. And it was only because I'm like, well, I'm at home. Like, I don't feel like doing that. But when you're at home, it can, if you got good discipline, you can work from home. Like
Yeah.
for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's like, I need somebody to keep, and I say keep me on task, but
Yeah.
I like to physically get up and go to work.
You need a balance. Like, you need a balance.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Because being in this house,
Mhm.
honey, is driving me
Well, I have no
crazy.
problem with it. I work from home, and I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, but I understand where you're coming from. But I also want to ask you, other than you having a regular jobs, what did you do with your creative side? Like, what did you do as a creative?
So of course, I'm a model slash actress. So I'm always doing um podcasts. I'm always doing, videos. I was in Argot's video. I was in numerous of different videos. I also, we have fashion craze that we worked on that's coming out. And I do different. I'm looking into seeking and going into my own podcasting.
Okay.
So I have a lot of things that's, and I don't want to talk too much about it, but I got a lot of things that I'm working on. But I was just taking this year to really um get myself back together, because I went through a moment where I had lost everything, and I had to
Mm,
do it, gain it back. And I say gain it back, but I had to work for it back.
right.
So that was my main focus, was, and especially because I'm not new to Georgia, but I was fairly new to Georgia to still be trying to figure Georgia out, figure
Yes.
Atlanta
Yes.
out. So now that I figured it out, I have a plan. I have a rollout that's coming out. So everyone, please be looking out for your girl. She's coming. She ain't sleep. She was just in hibernation, getting
Yeah. She's
things
back
together.
outside. She's back
All
outside.
right. I'm back outside.
All right. And I'm glad you are. I'm glad you are. It's good. It's good to see you again, Jade. It's good to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, Kimberly Black said working from home can make you complacent and make social engagement difficult. And I agree.
Yes, that's
You agree
how I
with that?
felt. Like I couldn't even
Mhm.
get it together. And, I have a theater background. So I'm like, what?
Yeah, right, right.
How am I feeling like this? I normally never feel like this, but it was bad. It was like to a point where, you know, Javen and would try to get me to go places, and I'm like, I can't go. He was like, why? And I'll be like, I'm so antsy. I'm so anxious. Like I feel like something gonna happen, or I don't know. It was just weird. But now that I'm back outside, back in the field, back working around people, and actually, not gonna say touching people physically, but
Right. I
actually
got you.
interacting with people,
Right.
it, it,
Yes,
it
I
helps
mean,
me a
you're
lot.
more right because you're more like, you're ready. You're more ready now. Yeah,
Hmm.
so now you have to get ready. So see, there you have
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
So now, Jade, now
Hmm.
you got caught in the act recently, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about that. You all sneaking around with Javen behind our guy back, and so we gotta get into that, Jay. It's all on TV and stuff. Tammy Roman chasing you down. Stop with that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, what
You
what
say
what
how
happened? What happened?
what had happened was, it's
Yeah.
what had happened was,
Uh-huh. Go ahead,
a
Miss
lot
Open
has
Book. Go ahead. Hey, what happened, Miss Open Book? Go ahead.
we had a situation where, some things came out about, David and I, and, it just kind of got a little hot,
Yeah, it
got a
got a
little
little
steamy,
hot.
got a
Yeah,
little
so
steamy.
where did it all start? Like, how did it all start? Because it went from you having a friendship, and then it got all hot, and you want to wait until he's in all in a relationship and everything to act on that. What happened?
See, what had happened was, no, I'm just kidding. What had happened was, now I'm in contract because I can't say a lot, but
Okay.
just know that some things, reality TV is reality TV. So I'm gonna leave that like that. But David and I, we're cool now. We're cordial. And Robert and I mean, David and I never did fall out, but our guy and I, we're cordial. We're barely, we're cordial. Still a little awkward, but
Yeah.
we're
Yeah,
cordial.
still working on, yeah, because you kind of had to, kind of betray some people. So, you kind of working
Did I
on mending
betray somebody,
things.
or somebody betrayed me?
Oh, did it? That's what happened. That's what happened.
Watch Caught in the Act, you'll find out.
All right. Watch Caught in the Act. What episode was that, Jade? Was it
So
season three?
no, it was season 3, episode 4 or 5. One of them.
I'm gonna put it in the description box so they'll see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm like wondering. So how did it come about where that whole triangle thing got on TV? How did that happen? Can you tell that?
Uh, so I'm gonna just say someone knew someone and thought that our story didn't look how we was presenting it at first.
Mm,
Once that happened, they started doing a little more digging, started talking to me, they started talking to him, and then they started putting things together.
okay. Oh, but
And
how did it end up on the show?
um, I was surprised like everybody else, but it was more so of I was surprised like everybody else. I mean, I'm not sure who knew who or what happened in that aspect. That would be more of our guy type of question, because he was the one that went to
Right.
Tammy and things like that. So
Okay.
I'm not certain on
How did all
how it
transport?
all came out. I just know I
Mhm.
was with Javen in the in the spaces, and then cameras and people started running out. So
Yeah.
I was
Right.
like,
Yeah. You
what
got
is
caught in the
going
act.
on? I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? But we all moved from that. We all are cordial, and
Yeah, yeah, you're working. See, I'm still working towards mending things. Like you say, you was in his video for Levi's.
yes, I
Shout
sure
out to
was.
our guy.
So
Yes,
shout
make
out to
sure you
our
check that
guy.
out too. Yes, yeah. So now, so Jay, so we got more into your backstory, and I do appreciate you sharing and being so candid about your story. I do
No
appreciate that. I
problem, no
enjoyed it.
problem.
I enjoy your upbringing. You shared your transition. You shared how you navigated through school and navigated through your process. So
Mm-hmm.
and here we are now. And so, like we said, it's Transgender Awareness Week. And so I really wanted to get more into your perspective on certain things that's been talked about in the media, especially. It's been a lot.
Right,
And
right.
and so I know that you noticed that there's been such a divide between transgender women and bio women. Not so much
Mm-hmm.
trans men, but more of trans women. It's
Mm-hmm.
been such a divide. Now, can you tell me in your own words, why do you think there's such a divide between transgender and bio women? You know,
To be honest, I feel like it's a divide because I just think that it's a whole misunderstanding, a whole miscommunication, because some bio women think that trans women want to replace them. I know I'm gonna speak for myself. I can't speak for everybody else, but I know for me, I don't want to replace anybody. I love my mother. I love women. I love, you know, how everything started. I come from a woman. I love a woman. I love how they look now. As of I want to be a biological woman. No, I don't want to be a biological woman. Y'all have to. It takes a lot of strength, and y'all deal with a lot of pain and stuff like that. That I wouldn't personally want to deal with. You know what I mean? So I just feel like it's a misunderstanding, and sometimes I feel that from what I see on social media and see on platforms, I be feeling like trans women are trying to force themselves upon
so you see
biological
that
women.
too. Okay.
I see that they are trying to,
Hmm.
but I think that they're forcing it because they feel like they're trying to erase us.
Mm.
So they a lot of my sisters are not going for being erased. No, we're here, we're loud, and we're out, and we're proud. But for me, I always did have most of my I don't want to say family. Most of my people, most of my, are all girls. They're all women. Like I love women and what they stand for and everything that they do. Like I will always respect a woman on a different level. But I consider myself a transgender woman, or a trans woman. I don't ever want to say biological woman Jade or whatever. Like I like to identify. I like to be the unicorn. I
Identify.
like to
Hmm.
be, I like to be
Hmm.
different. I don't like to be. That was, as you see from my story, I always did like to be
Yes.
different. I never
Yes.
did care about being different. That's what set me apart from everybody. So to me, I think it's like a needle in a haystack. You're gonna find a whole bunch of, you know, biological women everywhere, but you're gonna find that one trans woman that's really pretty and really, you know what I'm saying? That's not
Mm.
one. I'm just using that as an example. We
Right.
have a
I
lot of
get it. I
pretty
get it.
trans women, but you
Mhm.
know, you gonna meet one that's like, oh my gosh, she changed my life. I never knew. And I just feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had with, you know, a dialogue between trans women and biological women. You know, I just feel
Well, there's
like
plenty of those.
they feel like yeah, and they try to be. I don't like that they try to make it a competition or anything like that, because there's no competition where you can't compare. You know, you can't compare yourself to, yeah, like we look like women and things like that, but we're trans women, but y'all the blueprint. I feel like every woman is a blueprint. You know, I looked at my mother as, you know, this, and I wanted to look. If I put my mom on the screen, we
Mm.
look just alike. Like
Okay.
I wanted to be my mom. Like, you
Right.
know, that was just me. Not saying I wanted to be a biological woman, but I knew I wanted to look like my mother. You know what I mean? So for people to be having that conversation and making it a big thing, like and dividing it, I don't want it to divide it, because at the end of the day, we're all women, maybe different type of women, but we're all women. I feel like we should be more cohesive and fighting with each other, not against each other.
And I agree. Before we get to this question, I definitely want you to answer this. But before we get to this question, I want to ask you, how do you feel about trans women in women's sports? Because
For
that's a topic.
me,
Because
that's a big
that's
topic
a big,
that
that it is.
everybody
It
is.
is.
And I was an athlete, so I kind of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's a real tricky one for me, because at that point in time when I was an athlete and I was on hormones when I was in swimming, um, but I still would compete with the guys, and I was still coming out top three, top four, you know. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I was on hormones. I wasn't as deep in hormones as I am now, but you know, I was still winning and stuff like that. That didn't really affect me. So I feel like our strength could be different. But now there is, you know, when you're on hormone therapy for a very long time, you do break down. I don't want to discredit that. You do break down, and you won't have as much strength as the men. Now, I don't feel that they should be in all women's sports, but I don't feel like they should be in men's sports neither. I feel like it needs its own division, like its own
Yes.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like trans should compete with trans, boys should compete with boys, women should compete with women. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, because I kind of feel the same way too, because you have a lot, and I try not to, you know, word it, to where I'm offending anyone, but still feel like there is still some level of strength that trans women have that is,
Mhm.
kind of at a disadvantage when it comes to women by a woman,
Right, right. Because if
and
I feel
then
like if a
right.
trans woman and a woman fighting, the trans woman gonna win. That's how I
Right,
look.
exactly. Especially, it also depends on how far you are in your
Hmm.
transformation, because
Exactly.
now you have, also there's another topic about trans who identify as trans that are easily able to get access to the women's locker rooms and the women's bathrooms. And that's a
Hmm.
whole nother conversation as well, because I just feel like it depends on how far you are in your transition. If
Exactly.
you just wearing a wig and a dress and you saying you're trans, hi Caitlin. Mm-mm.
Right.
No, I mean, come on. I mean, it just,
It just
there's a
doesn't.
line that has to be drawn
Right.
somewhere,
Right. And
So I appreciate that. So, Kimberly Black question was, can you ask her how she feels about Cherry the Boom and T.S. Madison, how they represent the trans? And that's a good one. That's a good question, actually.
so I would say I love both the girls. I love
Mhm.
them. I love that they're so outspoken. I love that they speak their truth. I love that, you know, I'm gonna lead the conversation with that. Now, we are all different characters. You know, we are all got different character traits. Now, how they go about certain things, I personally wouldn't do say it, or you know, that some things, how my mom used to say it, some things you leave at the kitchen table. You know,
Got
you
it.
don't
Got it.
take it from the kitchen table.
Mhm.
But you know, they're trying to. I see what they're trying to do, and I see that it's making. If as long as they have the conversation, they're doing their job. You know, but you know, as
But
for
right. Yeah, and
as
I
for
think I was just saying, because I know when it comes to Madison, I know she needs to learn to pick up battles.
yeah,
She's a
I feel
good,
like,
yeah.
well, I love T.S. Madison. I love that
Me
she
too. Me
stands
too.
loud, proud, and you know,
Mhm.
don't give a f whatever nobody thinks. I love that about her, and that the reason I love that about her, because I could never say things that she say. You know, that's
Mhm.
just me. That's just not my character. But I would sit down and kiki with her. I would sit down and let I'd be like, say it, girl, say what you mean, say it how you mean it. I would be that, but I'm just not like that. Should I say?
Right,
That's just
right. You're
not
not
my
just not
character.
out. You're not. You're just out. You're not as out with it.
Yeah, like
Yeah. Mhm.
but yet I don't hide. But yet now, some things I'm gonna say and some things I won't say. Like
Got it.
some people are more open with their body parts and things like that, and what they got going on, and what they.
Oh, Jade, not again. Okay. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Because I was like, not again.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right. So I want to ask you this, Jade. I don't know if you're aware of T.S. Madison, Just Hilarious has been going at it back and forth for a
Mm-hmm.
week. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was Just had almost had the opportunity to go on the Miss Pat show, but then the
Mm-hmm.
network BT decided not to have her on the show because of some comments that were made towards transgender women. So my question to you is, do you think that even if even if Jess Hilarious' opinion wasn't pleased and appeasing to certain people, certain groups, do you think that um that should hinder her job opportunity? This should that affect her livelihood?
That's tricky because I love Jess. I do love Jess. But some of the comments that Jess makes, I'm
Mhm.
not gonna lie, it made me feel away. And
Mhm.
I'm a girl that supported Jess. I still support Jess. It just made me feel away on certain things that she says. Because I just be like, and I get she's going only going for Madison, you know what I'm saying? She's not going
Yeah,
for
right.
everybody, but
Mhm.
at the same time, she is an influencer. She
Mhm.
is, a celebrity, so she
Mhm.
has to be mindful of those things. Now, um, I feel like if she feel how she feel, and that's the thing she stand by, then I mean, I don't want to take money out her baby's mouth and foods out her baby's mouth, but I mean, you
Yes.
gotta accept it. You
Consequences.
gotta accept the consequences.
Yeah.
What if somebody that's transgender work for BET? You know what I mean? And she offended that person.
Mhm.
It's just a bigger. She needed. I feel like if she looks at the bigger picture, she
Right.
would stop making certain things. Now when they first had their power, I was like, I get what Jess saying, I get what Madison's saying. I just feel like they should just move forward. But I just feel like personally, I feel like Jess um says things to trigger Madison, and then
Yeah.
Madison come back, and then they go back and forth. But I'm the type of person where I'm not gonna go back and forth with nobody. I don't care if you're a man, woman, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. Once I said what I said, I said what I said. Now, if you keep coming for me,
Yeah, right. Yeah, you don't want it to get to that point because you should be able to respectfully debate, your
agree to disagree. That's all I
right.
be thinking about is why you can't
Respectfully.
agree to
Yeah.
disagree and move on. Like,
Because it's too
it's
much like
crazy to me.
adulting. That's the thing. It's too much like adulting. But Jade, I want to share this video with you, and I'm going to play
Okay.
a couple of parts of it. And it comes from
Okay.
this platform called Jubilee on YouTube. And so what it is like there's one person that's in the hot seat, and there's 20 people that races to debate with certain things. They have a certain time to do it, and they debate certain issues with that person. So this person is Michael Knowles. He's in the hot seat. Before it was Candace Owens. Before it was like it's different people, but this is
Mhm.
Michael Knowles this time. And so he's talking about his stance on eradicating the idea of transgender. So I just want to get your take on it. So I'm gonna
Okay.
put this video up, and I'm and whenever you want me to stop in between, let me know.
I can't hear you if you're speaking. I think I'll probably in the video.
Oh, you hear me? No, you can't.
I can't hear you, no.
Oh, oh, okay. I didn't even do anything.
As soon as you
Oh,
put the video up, I couldn't hear you no more.
okay. Now, how about now?
No, I can't hear you.
Ah, okay, okay. All right, all right. That's weird. Can you can you go out and come back in again? Mm, mm. All righty. So we're gonna Jade is gonna come back on again. I'm going to play a video, like I said, from the Jubilee podcast. So hopefully, this is for fair use, 1976. For education and information purposes, commentary, whatever that disclaimer says. I got to get that disclaimer up here, just to make sure, be on the sure side. But so hopefully she'll be able to hear me. All right,
Yes, I
Jade.
can hear.
Yeah, I don't know why it keeps doing that. All right. All right. So I'm pull it up. All righty.
This claim is that transgenderism should be eradicated from public life entirely.
Did you ever heard of Blossom, Jade?
No.
Oh, okay, yeah, because she's like a advocate. So I was just curious. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Blossom. She, her, hers powerhouse.
The Blossom Powerhouse. Lovely to meet you.
Yes. Go ahead. I want to know your ideology around transgenderism, something that doesn't exist. It just sounds more like conservative propaganda. So I kind of want to know a little bit more about what you're trying to communicate.
Okay. I think for all of history everywhere, people have understood the human person to have something to do with his body. So like your body has something to do with who you are. Now there is an alternative view, which is called Gnosticism. It's a view that our bodies don't really have anything to do with who we are, that the body is maybe even evil, and that our true selves have no connection to our bodies. And I see in the transgender ideology a kind of Gnosticism that says that you could look like a man, you could have a man's genetics, you could have a man's genitals, you could have a man's everything. But if you feel on some deep level that you're really a woman, then you are really a woman. And I don't think that's true. And I think that the social effects of that are really bad because it leads to the depriving women of their legitimate rights. In some cases, it leads to rapes, notably in the last few years. And it also leads to women losing their sports competitions and their scholarships, and it's just disordered and false. And it also leads to more people adopting this identity, which leads to very high rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide. So it's bad for everyone, and it's not grounded in reality.
All right, Jade. I just want to, before she responds, I wanted to get your take on that.
I feel like he's an idiot. I feel like yeah, I that caught me off guard. I wasn't
right. It's a lot, right? Because that radicalism that really gets
right. I feel like you shouldn't be trying to erase men, women, or transgender women. Everybody is, I thought this was a United States where we can land of the free, where we can express ourselves on how we feel, how we look, what we, and you trying to erase us. I don't agree with that. I do feel that, he is I feel like men like that, I feel like something must have happened to them for them to really hate the trans community or anything like that. Now I get what he's trying to say, but I just feel like,
because he didn't actually say,
"You're not God."
Yeah, because I know you say he wanted to erase the idea of it, but not the people. That's
even the idea of it. You have it starts off as an idea before you even. You know what I'm saying? It starts off as an idea before you even start doing it. Because going back to me, when I was young, it was an idea, but I didn't know how to go about it until I started seeing it and researching and things like that. But to erase that idea is crazy work to me, because when I was a kid, they didn't have that many, around. And now that it is a lot of people, if I was a kid, when I was a kid, if they had transgenders out like that, it would have been more easier for me to transition. I could identify with that person. I could relate to that person. It's all about how what the idea is, basically so the younger generation or the younger kids can identify representation of them. So I feel like, why would you want to erase the idea? I just don't feel like that's my personal opinion. I think that's the stupidest thing you ever said. Just me.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I want to hear her response to this.
Oh, I don't even think you understand what you say sometimes. I don't think you even understand what you say, because when we talk about these rape cases of women in the restroom, they're coming from cis men like you. So let's be very clear.
No,
where it's
that's
coming
not
from.
true. In,
Oh,
20,
it's
in
very, very-
2021,
excuse me, do not interrupt a black
well, I'm
trans
just
woman when she's
I'm
speaking.
just trying to
Do
correct
not
you.
interrupt
Well,
a
I would
black
never
trans woman when she's
I would
speaking.
never
No,
interrupt
no,
a black
no,
woman.
No, thank you.
You made
Here's the thing about me as a black trans woman. I am not a threat to cis women, and I think it is harmful that you are going around here spewing that rhetoric, weaponizing this rhetoric against trans people.
Weaponizing facts.
Transgenderism does not exist. We as trans people exist. We are 1% of the population, and there is a lot of power in the trans identity because you are sitting here spewing something to me that doesn't really
I'm not
exist.
spewing anything. I'm just stating facts plainly.
I have lived experience. You don't, and you never will. But I do have a question.
I have
for
lived
you.
experience.
What if one of your
I'm alive.
what if one of your kids came out as trans? How would you
God
react
forbid.
to that?
I mean, I would obviously love my children, and I would try to do what's best for my children. And the best thing that I could do to be respectful and also to be conducive to their flourishing is to tell them the truth, which is that they're not really girls.
Oh, come on. I can't even imagine your relationship with your children. No shade.
That's great. That's a great relationship.
I just cannot even imagine that.
Yeah.
But here's the reality. We exist. Again, people like you do not have the intellectual capacity to hold conversations like this because in a minute you're going to reduce this down to genitalia, and then we're going to have to shift it somewhere else because obviously people like you, that's where they go, right?
In a minute, what I'm going to do is correct something you said. When you said that the rapes that have occurred in these bathrooms are cis men.
White cis men, I should say, actually.
That isn't true. Loudoun County, 2021, the big case that actually ended up flipping the state was because there was a boy who wore a skirt, went into the girl's bathroom and raped a girl in a particularly hideous way. And you know what happened? Hold on, don't cut me off. You said you wouldn't.
A cis boy. It was not a trans woman. All y'all do is go back to cis boys. You're always talking about cis boys. I don't understand the fascination with trans bodies and what's happening in the bathroom. It is mostly happening.
I think you're filibustering because you don't want me to tell you what happened in the bathroom.
Who?
Me. I think you're filibustering.
Child, no.
I think that you're distracting from the fact that a boy wearing a skirt in a girl's bathroom.
A boy, but not a trans woman.
Well, there's no such thing as a trans woman.
Oh, yes, it is. You're looking at one right now.
I'm looking at.
You're looking at me
I'm
right
looking
now.
at
with lived experience.
I'm looking
with
at
lived experience. You are looking at a trans woman who has been transitioning for over 20 years, who has lived experience.
Yes.
You're talking to an activist here.
But your identity is not grounded in reality.
Somebody that's extreme.
Your identity is not grounded in reality. Yeah. Yeah, I tell you. I said I had to make sure that I share this with you as a reference, you know, because it's a lot. There's a lot to unpack there.
Right. I don't agree with him. I definitely agree with what was the trans woman's name? Blossom. I definitely agree with Blossom. I just feel that I don't want her to be so aggressive because that's like he's winning. You know, I feel like he's smiling on the inside because he's like, oh, I got her rattled. And I understand she's passionate about what she's saying, but she's showing her emotion, which is fair. But when you're in a debate with a man like that, you need to try to keep your composure. But she is stating facts because every time I'm like, clock it. But you know, I don't agree with what he was saying at all. I definitely agree with Blossom, and I think Blossom is hitting the hammer right on the nail.
All right, so I'm gonna play just a little bit more, and then I'm gonna play just a little bit more of this, and then.
I'm not really talking to anyone because you keep talking over me.
In your head, I'm not, but I am in reality.
Yeah.
I'm here in front of you right now talking to you.
You're confused about your identity.
No, you are confused at the fact that you don't really have any talking points right now because
Then why aren't you letting me speak?
You really don't.
If I have nothing to say, why aren't you letting me speak?
Put me on your show. How about that?
Then it would become your show, I think.
Oh yeah, I should have a show. I should have a show.
In 2018, there were 2 rapes in bathrooms, and one in Wisconsin, one in Georgia.
From men,
also because of the transgender identity.
But say it, cis men.
If you're going to describe a boy who wears a skirt and goes into a girl's bathroom as a cis man, no, I didn't.
No, you are. This is the example that you run to. Past that, you have nothing.
I've just given you 3 examples. I've given you 3 examples in recent years.
You don't. You've been struggling this entire time.
News to me. Have I?
Yeah, you have.
I think the trans lady doth protest too much, methinks.
Bye. Goodbye.
Perhaps I'll see you on my show.
Yes, invite me.
Yeah.
Get my email. Tell your people to get my email address. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, Jay. So so I thank you so much for giving your perspective. I wanted to get your input so badly on this because again, this is such a a hot topic right now. It's such a trending topic. And so and I know another reason why I wanted you to play that clip, because there's so many conservatives who think this way, who feel like, there has this idea, because, back in the day, like whether you were gay or transgender, they used to consider that a mental illness. You know, people have this idea in their mind, but it's just not reality, or, it's impossible for you to really believe that you can identify yourself as who you are right now. So that's why I wanted to make sure. And like I said, I have no dog in the fight. I'm new to your territory, but I really wanted to get your perspective. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that he is poor excuse of a man.
Mm.
I think that he has everybody has their own opinion. But when he said he would tell his kids that, that just threw
Turned you
me
off.
for a
Yeah.
whole loop. And then as Blossom was saying, he keeps saying a man put on a skirt and went in the bathroom. That's literally a cisgender man or a biological man just putting on a girl's clothing. I go in the women's restroom all the time, and I never even looked at a woman and was like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
ooh,
Mm-hmm.
I want to touch her.
There's
Like
there's some bio men that actually do that, and they identify as transgender with just a
and
skirt and a wig.
I think they do that to
Mhm. Yeah.
make all transgenders look bad, and to get out of what they're really doing. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? They try to disguise it. I don't agree with that at all, and I don't play around with rape or anything like that or anything of that sort. So I'm sorry to those victims, and my heart goes out to them. But I don't consider those people as transgender women, because our transgender people, should I say, altogether, because they don't live that experience. They never lived that experience. They just put on some clothes and went in the women's restroom. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, experiences like me, when I'm from 15, 16 years old to 33, I'll be 34 next month. I might as well say I'm 34. That has lived my life as a woman and wake up every day and do just as a woman as a woman would do.
Right.
So I think that's the conflict in his head. And I see the points he's trying to make, but he's not making his point because of the fact that you're saying a man put on a skirt. Key word, you said a man put on a skirt, or a boy put on a skirt. A boy put on a skirt. You know what I mean? You won't see a representation like me, or even as her, going in there and doing something crazy like that. Like that's absurd.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, so like I said, I do appreciate you. And you articulated very well. You spoke so eloquently, so thank you so much for that. But I want to kind of get out of the darkness and have a little fun with you, Jade. Because
Okay.
yeah, let's just lighten it up. Let's lighten up the mood. So
Okay.
I'd like to have a little segment called This or That.
Here they come, yo. Here they come.
Yeah, so I just, do that, I have to do real short because, copyright and stuff. So yeah, I want to do a little something. So it's called This or That, where random stuff, I put random stuff out there, and you have to choose one or the other. You can't say both. You can't plead the fifth, and I know it's conflict. I know it's certain, you're going to be conflict choosing one or the other. I understand.
Thank you so, man.
Yeah, I know. So, but you're going to be conflicted, but it's nothing against the other, but it's just one or the other. All right? You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So, chicken or fish?
Fish.
Apples or oranges?
Apples.
Nicki Minaj or Meg Thee Stallion?
Meg Thee Stallion.
Okay. Javen Gerard or Argyle?
Javen Gerard.
I know. See, obviously I'm bad. I know. I'm such a stink. I'm such a stink. I know. Okay. So, drumsticks or wing? Drumsticks or what's it? Flats. Flats. Yeah. Flats. Okay. Burger King or McDonald's?
Burger King.
Okay. I just had it too. Oh, okay. Jagged Edge or Drew Hill?
Jagged Edge.
Okay. Guy or Boys to Men?
Boys to Men.
Okay. October London or Duran Bernard? You familiar with Duran Bernard? You familiar with those? You're familiar with those artists?
No.
Okay, okay. That's all right. Sierra, and Sierra or Aaliyah?
Oh, why would you do that to me?
I'm sorry. Rest in peace, Aaliyah.
Oh, because you know Sierra, my girl, but I have to go with Aaliyah because she was my girl first.
That's okay. All right, that's okay. Okay, now here go one. Destiny's Child or In Vogue?
Destiny's Child.
I don't know why I thought. Oh, why am I not surprised?
Destiny's Child, you know,
Yeah.
very much Destiny's Child, bro.
So, acting or financing?
Acting.
Okay. And so, one more. Cream of wheat or oatmeal?
Oatmeal.
Okay. I want to do another one.
Okay. Come on. I like this game. I like this game. Come on. I like this game.
All right. Okay. Salmon or catfish?
South. I'm from New Orleans.
Yeah, but which I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
Said catfish.
Catfish. Okay. Now I don't want you to be biased. I know you from Louisiana, but donuts or beignets?
Now you know the answer to that one. You know the answer to that one. Yay.
Okay. You know what? And I want just real quick. I went to New Orleans for my birthday. Had a time of my life.
I know you had a ball.
Oh, I did. Yeah, check out on my channel. Check out my video, my photos I got.
I definitely will.
Yeah, I had a ball. I look forward to going back. Yeah,
I know you had a ball.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Houston or Atlanta?
Oh, that's hard because I love them both for two different reasons.
Right. Overall.
Houston.
Okay. All righty. So I think I'm gonna just leave it there because I ran out of stuff. Yeah, I gotta get some more. But thank you so much for playing with me, Jade. I appreciate that. Wasn't that fun?
That was fun.
Yeah, I gotta get
you a
more
little messy, but it was
I
fun.
know. Jade. Me? No, not me. Messy, no.
If it wouldn't be a little juicy, a little messy in the
Oh, Jade. Oh, one more. Baby boy or Boys in the Hood?
Baby boy.
Yeah,
Baby boy. Because what? Jody, I love you. I hate you, Jody.
You see, you love you some Jody. Oh Lord, not his trifling behind. Maybe he might have matured by now. So maybe Jody now. Jody in present.
Jody, my Jody.
Yeah, Jody.
Jody don't want to leave his mama.
Go suck your thumb when you say that.
Jody don't want to leave his mama.
Yeah, so now I'd like to ask these last two questions before we wrap up, Jade. I want to ask these two questions. I love the answers that I get. I'm looking forward to your answers. All right. So now, if you had the opportunity to have 5 people at the seat of your table, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Oh, 5 people to sit at my table, dead or alive. Celebrity wise or just people?
No, but anyone.
Anybody?
Mm-hmm. You have to tell me why for each person.
Oh, that's a good question. Say you hit me with that one.
Yeah, I love it. I love the answer that I get.
So one person I definitely would be my aunt. She passed away from cancer. My aunt Shauna, I would definitely have her there because I was so young when she passed away. But she wasn't a second mom, but she was like my second mom. Her and my mom were best friends. So when you see my mom, you seen her. And I just would want to just talk to her and just, get her perspective on life because she was such an amazing woman. The second person would be my grandfather, which is my mom's dad, because he's more of my character. Like he is
more out there
and outspoken, and he don't care what nobody think. And I love my grandfather. So definitely my grandfather. Um, Aaliyah.
Oh,
I
okay.
definitely would love to
Oh,
speak with Aaliyah,
why?
sit at the table and speak with her because I just want to know how, she went through a period where she, disappeared for a while and, did her personal life thing. And I just have some questions on how the business really is. Is it really cutthroat
Mm,
like it is, or
mhm,
am I just doing something wrong? Just questions about business part and her being in a spotlight for a very long time, especially at a young age.
mhm.
Who else? Did I say that's three? Um, Four would be Beyonce.
Ah,
Cause girl, how you so rich? What you do?
what you be
Give me your
doing, huh?
secret. What you be doing?
'Cause, she's accused of a lot of things, so let people tell
Right.
it. Yeah, let them tell it.
I just want to know how she is a black successful woman that just took it to a whole nother
Whole
level.
nother
And how does she ignore
top tier. Mhm,
how does she ignore the negativity and things
mhm.
like that? And lastly would be who was it at my table? Oh, of course, my mama. I
Ah.
gotta have my mom at my table because she's my mama, and I'm small. I
That's my
love my
mama.
mama. Like that's my mama, and I wanna, and I sit and talk to my mama every day, and like it, the things I learn every day about my mother. Like she's my first of all first person I ever looked up to or anything
Mm.
like that. So she's my number one, and I'm sure she want to know all them questions that I want to answer to, and I want to ask everybody too.
Right,
We
right.
nosy, and we nosy. But no,
Yeah.
my mom, especially because she's my best friend, and
Yeah, okay. Because
she's
that's a blessing though, when
mhm.
because like as parents, I'm a parent myself, and as parents, we just love to, have our children, especially as adults, to say that you are my inspiration or you're still a person that,
Yeah,
I still look up to. So I think that's a blessing that
every
you
day.
would have that
Yeah.
type of reverence towards your mom. I think that's a
Yeah,
blessing.
like I mean, that's my best friend. That's my world. I don't know what I would do without her for real.
Oh, that's
Hi,
so
my
sweet.
daddy. I love my daddy too. Now, don't
Right, right.
I love my daddy too, but
Right.
my mama, that's my girl. That's my twin.
Mhm. That's your rock. Yeah.
That's everything. Love you,
Now,
mommy. I'm sure she's watching. Love you,
yeah,
mommy.
shout out to Jay's mom. Shout out to Jay's mom. Yeah, and so now who would get the big piece of chicken and why?
My mama would get the big piece of chicken because she loved chicken. If she don't know what to eat, she gonna eat some chicken.
Some chicken.
She gonna eat some chicken. She don't know what to eat or don't know what to cook. Baby, y'all, we about to eat some chicken tonight. Like my mama love fried chicken. Like that
Fried
is her
chicken.
jam. She loves the fried chicken.
All right, well, that's good. At least you thought enough about her to have the big piece. So yeah,
Yeah,
she
she has the
deserves
biggest piece.
yeah,
She
she
will have the
deserves
biggest
it.
piece.
Yeah. So now this last question that I'm gonna ask you, this question is from the late James Lipton from inside the actor studio. So Jade Morgan,
Mhm.
when you enter into the pearly gates, what would you want God to say?
Job well done.
Mhm.
I wanted to say job well done because not only I want to say job well done because I feel like he gave me a task that's I'm not gonna say no task is better than each, but or he gave me a battle that
The purpose. Mhm.
not everybody can
Mhm.
handle.
Mhm.
And when I leave this earth, I just want everyone to know that I want everyone to take from me that, no matter what you go through in life, no matter how difficult it looks, no matter what it looks like, you can paint your narrative how you want to paint your narrative.
Good.
And it's going to definitely be in a positive, for me, it's going to be in a positive light. It's going to be, even if I don't have biological kids, um, I want my legacy to speak for me. That's what I'm going to leave on this earth is my legacy, which is, I want to open up community homes. I want to I want to give back to shelters. I want to have my own nursing home. Like I want to have all these things in my name. So no matter if I'm there and I don't have kids or anything, not saying I'm not going to have kids, but if I don't, I want them to still know that Jay was a strong transgender woman that stood proud, loud, and she was in color, honey. She was a black transgender woman that set the bar high for every trans woman out there.
There you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Jade Morgan Calais. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
being
so
here.
much, babe.
This was
Thank you so much.
I love this conversation so much. I
Thank you so
really
much,
thank
babe.
you so much for being on my platform, my little bitty platform, and I really appreciate you taking this journey with me.
Thank you,
So
babe.
I
I
feel
mean, I appreciate you so
yeah,
much.
I appreciate you as well. And this is the beautiful Jade Morgan, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you
Love you.
all. Bye. Love you.
Bye. Jade Morgan in the building, y'all. I mean, she spoke a lot. She's blessed us with so many gems and so much that she shared, and she was so candid about it. And I really appreciate that about her because what she presented to you was her true authentic self. It was a blessing to get to know her for the past several years, and I just appreciate her coming on and sharing her perspective on the transgender experience and the climate that it's in. And so, for those who are still fighting the good fight and those who are, I just want there to be more unity among all of us, and it starts with honesty. It starts with living in your truth. Let's start there. That's the foundation of it all. So I just really hope that you've gained more perspective about the trans community from from one person perspective. Even though Jade is one person, but she speaks for many. She speaks for many, and I just really appreciate how she was able to just give so much insight. So, and I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed, and I'm just enjoying this. I'm enjoying all of this, these interviews that I'm getting so far. I mean, with such great people, I am so blessed. I'm blessed beyond measure. And like I said, it's not taken for granted. I really do appreciate this. And so thank you so much, Kimberly Black. You don't know how much your support means to me. You've been riding with me from the beginning. So I just really appreciate that. And I mean, we've been interact with each other, since the whole beef sector. I've been following in the beef sector, and you've been, we've been interacting since then. So I really appreciate that. And Kimberly Black, I also, once I get, I'm not sure how far my platform is going to go, but once I get to a certain level, I really would love for you to be one of my moderators, if that's possible. I don't want to get I don't want to have too many mods. I don't think I need that many, but I think that you will be a real strong candidate to be one of my moderators. So I really hope that you consider my invitation when it gets to that point. I really would be honored for you to be one of my mods. So I do appreciate your support. I mean, you've always in my, you're always in the building with me. You know, because it's something that I'm really humbled by, because it's a really humbling experience. Thank you, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know when that's gonna happen because I don't have enough of an audience yet. I don't have enough of a fan base yet, but it's gonna come when it comes. Whatever God has for me is for me, and I'm gonna accept it wholeheartedly. But I just wanted to put that out there. So thank you so much for accepting that. All right. So but for all of you who was in the live, who was in the bushes, who came and went, those who catch the replay, please catch this replay because like I said, Jade has shared so much and I really enjoyed this. So I'm looking forward to my next interview that's coming up. That is with Shane Brown. He is also a content creator and recording artist, and he's also the nephew to a very legendary, famous artist. And so we're going to get into that as well. So please be sure that you check me out Wednesday, my next interview Wednesday on the 19th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I interview with Shane Brown. So again, I thank you so much. I appreciate your time and your support. And until next time, have a good one.